What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Dishes and Fishes, where I show you how to cook and set hooks. In today's episode, we're going to be doing a little bit of both of those things, as I would like to show you how to catch and cook a northern pike. It's fall time here in Connecticut. The water temperatures are like 58, 59 degrees right now and dropping. Absolutely perfect time to get out and fish. And today we happen to have a nice windy, sunny day. Again, it's gonna be a slugfest. Two times of the year where you seem to catch a ton of pike are in the spring and in the fall. You can catch them all year long, but right after the ice thaws, I feel like the first thing that I always catch is pike. If you're a fisherman that likes to fish fast and power style fishing, you can fish shallow in March after the ice thaws out and catch some pretty nice sized pike. So what do I look for as far as habitats to catch pike? First of all, pike and pickerel love grass. Their bodies are naturally marked to look like grass, to be camouflaged in grass. They're ambush hunters, they hide in the grass. So the first thing I would look for if I'm intentionally trying to catch pike is grass. Next thing you want to pay attention to is the depths around it. So on sunny days like this, I find that pike, once it warms up like this during the day, they tend to move shallow and you can see them a lot of the times. So you don't want to be fishing terribly deep in the spring and fall if you're fishing for pike, but if you have a sunny day like this, odds are in your favor that you'll catch one. The last thing I look for is areas where parts of the lake come together. So if a tributary is flowing in, if the lake forks and there's a grass line there, that's money. And if those first few things come together, take a look in the water. If you see any bream or baitfish swimming around, there's going to be pike lurking around, especially if you're in grass. So catching pike is sad in tournaments, but if you're not in a tournament and the bass aren't biting, it's fun to catch them. So what baits do you throw? So probably the most popular pike catching lure is a spinnerbait. There's no wrong way to fish a spinnerbait when you're fishing for pike. If you throw a spinnerbait all day long on grass lines in the fall and spring, you're going to catch a pike. Anything that's bladed and flashy and shiny and makes a lot of racket is another good candidate for a pike catching lure. The next lure that I'm going to be throwing today that's super fun to fish for bass too is a lipless crankbait. Again, there's times of the year where the bass aren't active. They're not eating anything fast. You gotta work super slow in the bottom with a drop shot or a hair jig or something to catch them. But the pike will still eat this. So if you're growing impatient fishing super slow, you can tie one of these on, focus on those grass habitats that we talked about, and you'll probably hook up with a nice pike. The red eye shad from Strike King is always on one of my rods in the fall and the spring. It's on my deck most of the year. A couple things about fishing any of these baits in general is sometimes you'll see pike tracking it. They'll follow it for a really long time. If you see that happening, adjust your retrieve. If you were reeling the bait straight in and they were following it, try reeling it and letting it fall, reeling it, letting it fall. That'll produce a lot of strikes for you, as well as just speeding it up or slowing it down. Just doing something different if you notice that they're following it in. Lipless crankbaits own. Something else I like to do is take the back treble hook off of the lipless crankbait and put this little blade on there. That's great for bass in the fall too, but I find that if they're keying in on spinnerbaits and you want to just fish a little bit faster and stronger, doing that with a lipless crankbait is super fun. And anytime the water temperature is in the 50s, I got this on my deck, a jerk bait. I love gold jerk baits. This one's colored like a perch. I've caught so many fish on this thing. You can see the paint job is pretty much gone. But jerk baits are super fun to fish, and when it's cold, you can clean up. Those are the primary baits I'm going to be throwing today. You can catch pike on a bunch of different stuff. A lot of the time it's incidental, you don't really plan on it. I've caught them on like weird stuff like shaky heads. I've caught one on a Ned rig before in the summer. But those are the things I would throw if I'm going out to specifically catch pike. Now let's see if we can catch some. Look at that fall, look at that, see it. Try reeling it and letting it fall, reeling it, letting it fall. That'll produce a lot of strikes for you.
Oh, he took it. All right.
There's our pike.
Oh, it's a tiger muskie. Jesus.
He's on schedule though. He's off. Well, good example. So that was actually my last shot at a pike until this March.
What color you got yours on? The amber? Me too. There it is.
And you can see this fish was caught on a jerkbait. That is a Megabass Vision 110 jerkbait. Clowned my paint job on that bait. All right, the bag's been secured. Let's take it back to the house and get it prepped. So if you do not want to see me process this pike, skip to this time in the video. There is some blood. First thing I like to do if the fish is this fresh is humanely euthanize it. So just cut through the spinal cord to make sure he is gone. Filleting pike is not like any other fish. There's actually 5 fillets you get, and the first one you're going to get is right here on the back. So you can see I started my cut right behind the head, and I continued that along the back right until that dorsal fin. There may be a few bones in this, but they will be in the middle of the fillet. Here's where pike get weird. You can see they have their spinal cord, and they have these 2 rows of bones on either side of it. We want to fillet on the outside of each of those rows of bones. This isn't like a normal fish. So I'm going to take my fillet knife and treat these outer rows of bones just like I would the spine on like any other fish, and just fillet outside of those rows of bones. So you can see I'm starting on this side, I'm just filleting and peeling outside that row of bones, and it should come off pretty easily. And that is my second fillet, and this fillet is completely boneless. I will then do the other side, again outside that row of bones. Just taking my time, letting the knife do all the work until I have my third boneless fillet, and I will cut it free. And that's 3 of the 5 done. Those are the 3 big ones. Now, the 4th and 5th fillet are going to start right at the front of the anal fin here. So you can see I start my knife right there, and I'm just going to kind of make a cut down and scoop the fillet right off the side of the fish. It's just a little tail nugget. And then I will flip it over, start at the front of the anal fin again, and again, just get that little tail nugget out of the way. And that will leave me with my 5th fillet. And that's it. You can then take the head and guts out of this carcass and make fish stock. And now we are going to skin these fillets. And this is a skill that you can use on any fish. So start with a pointy end of the fillet facing you. And you're going to make a little cut just down into the skin with your knife on a slightly downward angle. And then you're going to just grab the skin and you're going to wiggle it back and forth while holding the knife at a downward angle. You can also grab this skin with a paper towel. I was just in a hurry after a long day of fishing. You can see I'm more pulling the skin than I am doing any cutting. And that is it. That is how you skin all fish. I also would do this with a larger chef's knife, not your fillet knife. This is just what I had outside and was dirty at the moment, so I just used it. And I'm just going to go ahead and skin up all the fillets now, the same way I just did that one. So, pulling the skin along the knife. Now I'm going to soak these fillets in some water with a pinch of salt to purge the blood out of them and let them soak as I prepare my batter. So, this is my first time tempura frying fish. That's the recipe I was going for. It turned out more like a beer batter. I'll share the recipe anyway in the description, but the batter wasn't as light and tempura-y as I wanted it to be. So I want to revisit this recipe once more this year before I have you guys make it at home. So after my fillets have purged all the blood out, I'm going to rinse them off and cut them into tempura-sized strips, like a big French fry, I guess. You guys have eaten tempura before, I hope. And then I'm going to make sure I pat them dry. I'm also going to tempura fry some vegetables. I have some sweet potato slices, broccoli, red pepper, and asparagus. Those are absolutely fire when you tempura batter them. Then I'm just going to dredge all of my things in flour, my batter, and then I'm going to fry them at 350 degrees in my little Dutch oven until they are nice and golden brown. And again, this batter is kind of a little bit thicker than I wanted to. It's kind of reminiscent of beer battered fish. I was going for more of a tempura, which I did not achieve here. So again, I will practice this and I will do an updated video in the near future. So nonetheless, I fried them and they were still tasty. So I'm going to set those on a paper towel and season them with smoked paprika and salt. I like those 2 seasonings. And that is it. After I tempura fried my vegetables, I would serve this dish with some type of soy, mirin, garlic, honey sauce, or your favorite Asian-inspired chili sauce. You could also pair this with the ginger slaw from my Japanese McRib video. But either way, that's kind of the dish I was going for, so I hope it provides you some inspiration. And as always, thanks for watching.